Warning. Actonville TV disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host, authors, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any religious affiliation.
Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranam Goinda, Goinda, Govinda. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. For those of you who just joined us, hello everybody. We got Devin Naidu coming in on YouTube instantly as we go live, which I love. He says namaskaram to you, Mr. Naidu. All right, welcome to Actonville TV, everyone. It's for everyone. This is the Journey Show, the show about exploring Hinduism as a whole. I'm your host, Kimera, Heeralal. If you'd like to join the conversation or interact with us in studio today, you're welcome to do so just by commenting at the bottom of the screen. If you wish to hashtag any of your views and comments and beliefs, anonymously, you're welcome to do so by using our WhatsApp line, which you'll find at the bottom right of your screen throughout the entire show. All right, guys, so today is, chapter 3 of Geeta week. Yes, so we're getting through the Bhagavad Gita very, very well today. Devin Naidu, if you wish to join us, you're welcome to comment at the bottom of the screen. Please do forgive me for not, voicing all your comments, as we only have an hour to finish our homework or our research that we've done. So we've got a beautiful lineup for you guys today. We've got Dr. P.K. Maestri helping us with chapter 3. I noticed something when we were checking all of his footage. He did do a little summary of all the chapters, but today is based on chapter 3. Please, guys, let's keep it on chapter 3 if you can. And we got Shashi Desai all the way from London, also sharing her views and her beliefs and her knowledge on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 3. And then we also have lots of entertainment to go with our show and praise and worship as well. And not forgetting, we end up the show with our value system, the Tirukkural value system. So don't forget, we have that at the end of the show. And if you need any services that need or require a guru, we have those services for you too towards the end of the show. And we have Guru Indresan who you can contact if need be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we always open up the show on the journey, as it is about exploring Hinduism, let's open the show with Lord Ganesha as we give praise to him. And today it's being, delivered by baby Nalisha. She's singing for us, Gaja Vadana.
Gajavadana
Ganesha. What a beautiful opening to our show this evening, guys, by baby Nalisha, who's only 4 years old. Oh, I could just eat her up. She is from Deshan Styler Naidu's Academy, which is called Styler Music Academy. And just look at his work right here on Attenville TV, guys. Yay! Alright, as we're talking about Geeta week, and today we're doing part 3, also chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. And well, I think we should start off with Dr. P.K. Maestri, looking at what he has put together for us in understanding the Bhagavad Gita chapter 3. Let's check it out.
Good evening, the viewership of Actonville TV. We started off the Bhagavad Gita series. In the first day, it was discussed as the origination of the Bhagavad Gita. We followed that up by chapter 1, and then before we spread out for the weekend, we had completed chapter 2. Although widely publicized and read by itself, the Bhagavad Gita, what's Bhagavat? Bhagavat is the Almighty God, and most religious deities are referred to as Bhagavat. Gita is the song of the God. It originally appeared as an episode in the Mahabharata, the epic Sanskrit history of the ancient world. The Mahabharata tells us of events leading up to the present age of Kali Yuga. It was at the beginning of this age, that was some 5,000 years ago, and Kali Yuga would finish in the next 400,000 years. It was at the beginning of this age, some 50 centuries ago, that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to his friend and devotee Arjuna, who was one of the 5 sons of the Pandava king. In summary of chapter 1, observing the armies of the battlefield, as opposing armies stand poised for battle, Arjuna sees his intimate relatives, teachers and friends ready and sacrifice their lives. Overcome by grief and pity, Arjuna falls in strength, his mind becomes bewildered, and he gives up his determination to fight. In chapter 2, which is entitled The Contents of the Gita Summarized, Arjuna submits to Lord Krishna as his disciple, and Krishna begins his teaching to Arjuna by explaining the fundamental distinction between the temporary material body and the eternal spiritual soul. The Lord explains the process of transmigration, the nature of selfless service to the Supreme, and the characteristics of a self-realized person. In chapter 3, Karma Yoga, that's the title of it, everyone must engage in some sort of activity in this material world. But actions can either bind one to this world or liberate one from it. By acting for the pleasure of the Supreme, without selfish motives, one can be liberated from the law of karma. That's the action and reaction, and can attain transcendental knowledge of the self, means of the soul, and the Supreme. The Supreme is the Godhead. In chapter 4, which is entitled to Transcendental Knowledge, it is the spiritual knowledge of the soul, of God, and of their relationship. That means the soul and God and their relationship is both purifying and liberating. Such knowledge is the fruit of selfless devotional action, which is called Karma Yoga. We have said in some of the TV programs that there's various types of yoga. Here, the Lord explains the remote history of the Gita, the purpose and significance of his periodic descents to the material world, and the necessity of approaching a guru, a realized guru, an enlightened guru to take you to the Godhead. In chapter 5, it's entitled Karma Yoga. It means action in Krishna consciousness. Outwardly performing all actions, but inwardly renouncing their fruits. The wise man, purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge, attains peace, detachment, forbearance, spiritual vision, and bliss. In chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, It's a mechanical meditative practice, controls the mind and senses, and focusation on the Paramatma. What is Paramatma? The super soul, the form in the heart. This practice some two types of samadhi. One, you give up your body and you never come back to your body. The other samadhi is, while you're conscious of doing all your work, you are still in communion with God. I think that's called Nirkapa Samadhi. Chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute. Lord Krishna is the supreme truth, the supreme cause and the sustaining force of everything material and spiritual. Advanced souls surrender unto Him in devotion, whereas the souls divert the minds to other objects of worship. Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. By remembering Lord Krishna in devotion throughout one's life, and especially the time of death, one can attain to supreme abode beyond the material world. Chapter 9, The Most Confidential Knowledge, it's entitled. Lord Krishna is the supreme Godhead and the supreme object of worship. The soul is eternally related to Him through transcendental devotional sevas, that's bhaktis. By one's pure devotion, one returns to Krishna in the spiritual realm. Chapter 10, The Opulence of the Absolute. That's the entitlement of this chapter. All wondrous phenomena showing power, beauty, grandeur, or either in the material world or in the spiritual, are but partial manifestation of Krishna's divine energies and opulence. As the supreme cause of all causes and the support and essence of everything, Krishna is the supreme object of worship for all beings. Chapter 11, it's entitled The Universal Form. Lord Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision and reveals his spectacular, unlimited form as the cosmic universe. Thus, he conclusively establishes his divinity. Krishna explains that his own all-beautiful human-like form is the original form of Godhead. Once we can perceive this form only by devotional means, in other words, devotional service. Chapter 12 is called Devotional Service. Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service to Lord Krishna, is the highest and most expedient means for attaining pure love for Krishna, which is the highest end of spiritual existence. Those who follow the supreme path develop divine qualities. Chapter 30, it's entitled Nature, the Joy and Consciousness. One who understands the difference between the body, the soul, and the super soul beyond them, both attains liberation from this material world. Chapter 40, The Three Modes of Material Nature. That's the entitlement. All embodied souls are under the control of the three modes or qualities of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Law explains what these modes are, how they will act upon us, how one transcends them, and the symptoms of one who has attained the transcendental state. In chapter 15, entitled The Yoga of the Supreme Person, the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity surrenders to Him and engages in His devotional service. Chapter 16, The Divine and Demonic Natures. Those who possess demonic qualities and will live happily without following the regulations of Scripture attain lower births and further material bondage. But those who possess divine qualities and live regulated lives, abiding by scriptural authority, gradually attain spiritual perfection. Chapter 17, there are divisions of faith. These are side types of faith corresponding to and evolving from the three modes of material nature. Acts performed by those whose faith is in the passion and ignorance yield only impermanent material results, whereas acts performed in goodness, in accord with scriptural injunctions, purify the heart and lead to pure faith in Lord Krishna and his devotion. Lastly, in the Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. On the 18th chapter is the conclusion entitled The Perfection of Renunciation. Krishna explains the renunciation and perfects or the effects of modes of nature on human consciousness and activity. He explained Brahman realization, the glories of the Bhagavad Gita, and the ultimate conclusion of the Gita. The highest part of religion is absolute, unconditional loving surrender unto Lord Krishna, which frees one of all sins, brings one to complete enlightenment, and enables one to return to the Krishna's eternal spiritual mode. I've taken two or three quotes from the last chapter in the conclusion chapter. The first one, it says, if you become conscious of me, you'll pass over all the obstacle of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you'll be lost. Secondly, if you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you'll have to be engaged in warfare. Thirdly, it says, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystic, and whenever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will be certainly opulence, victory, extraordinary power and morality. This is my opinion. I'd like to conclude this evening by the following few lines. It says, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prem Namaste to all you wonderful people during this momentous Gita week. Thank you.
Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Thank you so much, Dr. P.K. Maestri, for that briefing throughout the entire Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much for that information. But ladies and gentlemen, we are covering chapter 3. We got Shashi Gusain standing by to help us understand from her view how the Bhagavad Gita or chapter 3 should be explained. I think she does a pretty good job, as we asked her nicely to send us some information. So Shashi Gusain, stand by for us as we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Shashi Gusain helping us with chapter 3. Let's do that. When we come back, we'll greet Nishi Heeralal coming in from YouTube straight after this. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranam Goinda, Goinda, Govinda. Welcome back, everybody. Alright, for those of you who just joined us, so welcome to the show. We are currently streaming live in Malaysia South on Attenville TV. This is the Journey Show, the show about exploring Hinduism as a whole. I'm your host, Kimera Heeralal, and if you want to join the conversation and interact with us in studio today, you're welcome to do so by just commenting at the bottom of the screen. Or if you want to hashtag your views, comments, and beliefs anonymously, you're welcome to do so by using our WhatsApp line, which you'll find at the bottom right of your screen right there. Alright, Namaste Nishi Heeralal coming in from YouTube this evening. Lots of education and information coming in from Devin Naidu. Thank you so much. Well, everybody that wants to talk about the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, as it is Geeta Week here on Attenville TV, we'd like you to share your views, your comments. I'm asking you guys to please not copy and paste from the internet. I'm begging of you, please, as a lot of people know what's on Wikipedia, what's on certain yoga sites, and yeah, so a lot of people know this. We got a Ria Terry coming in from YouTube. She's like, Namaste everybody. Well, Namaste Anjali. Welcome to the show. Alright, so we are talking about Chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita this week, and it is Gita Week. Now, before we get to Shashi Gosai's beautiful delivery and explanation of Chapter 3, let us, take a look at a song name, okay? It's called Shibe, alright? And today it's being performed by Vandana Naren, featuring Vinesh Ramsamy and Gina Dance Productions from Winchester Hills, Johannesburg. Let's check them out.
शिव शंकर हे भगवान कर दो
Hare Hare Mahadev. Welcome back. That was a beautiful rendition, a beautiful dance, beautiful delivery, beautiful performance by Vandana Naren featuring with Vinesh Ramsamy and Gina's Dance Productions from Winchester Hills in Johannesburg, ladies and gentlemen. I hope Nishi Heeralal enjoyed it as she has been nagging for Hindi content. There you are, ma'am. All right, welcome to those of you who have joined us just now. We've got Vishnudevan Mudli just entering on YouTube saying, wow, fantastico. Ajiria saying, beautiful. Vishnudeva coming in, namaste, namaskaram, vanakkam. We're doing everything backwards now, Mr. Mudli. Thank you so much for joining the show. I love the fact that you just walked in and just like, wow, I love it. I love you for joining the show, Mr. Mudli. You know, I respect you. I love you for always making time for us. And I just want to give my condolences to you and your family for losing a loved one. May all of our gods, deities, samis bless you with the strength and everything that you need to get through this tough time. Ramanandi. All right, so let's get back to our Bhagavad Gita. As we're calling it Gita Week this week. Today is part 3, episode 82. Everybody, for those of you who want to backtrack and learn everything in order, which is normal. All right, so we are covering the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3 today. We had a listen to what Dr. P.K. Maestri had to say as he tried to sum up. I actually think he did a very good job in one show. Thank you so much for that, Dr. P.K. Maestri from the MSK Temple in Malaysia South. And we have Nishi Heeralal giving a round of applause this evening, as well as Vishnudevan Mudli. That's most appreciated. You are most welcome, Mr. Mudli. Our love from the Actonville TV team to you, from our home to yours. Blessed days, and may you give us a call if you ever need anything, and we wish you all of the strength that our deities give you. All right, now we've got Shashi Gosai standing by all the way in London to teach us, as she addresses it as the Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 3. Let's take a look.
Namaste, I'm Shashi Gosai. Now we shall continue our journey through Gita and look at each chapter at a time. So in chapter 2, Shri Krishna explained the ultimate spiritual goal is to eliminate our desires. And later he spoke about the eternal essence, or the Atma. So this was in chapter 2, and now we shall continue with chapter 3. So chapter 3 actually provides us the technique of Karma Yoga, of the actions we need to take. It's a selfless action, and it's a first step to actually begin the elimination of these desires. Arjuna is still in a very confused mind. He still doesn't know whether he should be fighting or not fighting, and he hasn't really had time to reflect on Shri Krishna Ji's discourses in what we saw in chapter 2. So chapter 3 actually begins with a question from Arjuna to Shri Krishna, and that is knowledge superior to action? Why fight at all? And he's still trying to get out of this action of fighting. So let's have a look at how Krishna Ji actually answers this and puts him in the right path. Arjuna, being a military man, was used to fighting in a battlefield with terse orders and exact motion of action. So he wanted Shri Krishna Ji to tell him the right path in precise terms, so he could actually start living the life that Shri Krishna Ji was trying to explain to him, that will give him the ultimate happiness. So Shri Krishna tells Arjuna there are 2 paths. One is a yoga of action, and one is a yoga of knowledge. So Arjuna asks, at this particular point, what do I need to do? Show me, tell me, so I can actually go on the right path. Shri Krishna Ji tells Arjuna that he cannot run away from his actions that he's already started, or nor can he actually change the course of actions. Everything in nature, or what we call Prakriti, is continually changing. Whether it's our bodies or the nature outside, or even the rocks are changing geologically. So nature is changing all the time, and we have to move with it. We cannot stay stationary and take no action. Shri Krishna Ji says that the universe is made of 3 energies, or 3 gunas, which are forces that make up the entire universe. And these 3 forces are Rajas, which actually causes movement, tamas, which causes inertia, and sattva, which is a harmony between movement and inertia. So just imagine all those years ago, Hinduism knew about forces of nature. And the funny thing is, we are compelled to work with those forces. We are compelled to work with it. We cannot move independently of anyone. And Sri Krishna ji also warns Arjuna that you cannot just repress everything. There's no way you can advance in spirituality if you're just repressing your desires. There's an actual motion of how we actually come to terms with it, how we can address it, and only then we can experience true spirituality. Repression of actions does not eliminate desires. For example, an alcoholic man may not have alcohol at home, might just get rid of all the bottles. But as soon as he's outside with his friends in a bar, for example, and he's been offered a drink, it's very difficult for him to actually repress that desire. So Krishna ji says that how he can get rid of those desires and still do normal actions is what's called karam yoga. Shri Krishna ji says, yes, do your actions, but do not get attached to the results or what the attachment you're going to put to that action. And for that, there are two weapons. So he then goes on to elaborate that. The first one is discrimination or viveka. And that means always being aware and alert of our surroundings, and remember that the material objects are very transient in life. They'll just come and go, and just not get attached to any one thing. And the second one is dispassion, what is called viragya. And if we constantly practice discrimination, it's over a period of time, dispassion will happen automatically. Objects, people, situations will begin to lose their hold on us. They will not feel so important that, it takes our psyche away. So this is a slow detachment that happens over a period of time, and is how we train our thoughts. Dispassion will actually prevent energy rushing out into the world of material objects through our senses. And once we're in control of our own mind and senses, then that energy which was rushing out can be channeled back into us to perform karam yoga. There are two types of action. The first one is niyatam, and this is looking after your parents, family, job, home, your nation, which are the prescribed actions. The second one is called nishida, and these are the forbidden actions. For example, killing or stealing, cheating, or really being rude to anyone. Sri Krishna urges Arjuna to carry out niyatam, which is a prescribed actions, without attachment to the result. And this is a fundamental point that's made throughout Geeta. Sri Krishna reiterates that we cannot resort to inaction. Without action, we cannot even look after our bodies, which is absolutely fundamental if we want our own spiritual journey. We have to first be physically and mentally fit. So far, Sri Krishna ji has spoken about why performing actions is essential, what kind of action should be done, and now then he goes on to say how the action should be performed. And this is the essence of karam yoga. Sri Krishna says, perform all actions with selfless dedication to a higher deity, and all your material needs for this earth will be provided for. And this is called the universal law. In essence, if we serve a higher ideal, the higher ideal will serve us. And that's whether it's God, the elders, or even superiors at work. Sri Krishna urges us to act in a spirit of harmony and cooperation for any work that we undertake for a mutual good. This is the essence of teamwork which was laid down in Geeta. Sri Krishna reminds us not to treat any individual, plant or animal with disrespect, since they collectively are serving us all. And this is the ecosystem which was also mentioned in the Gita. Krishna ji says there are two levels of action that a person can operate under. The first one is a selfish one, where his vision is very narrow, limited, and self-centered. And the second one is selfless action, where the person has got a very broad vision and he's always thinking about how he can act where the family will benefit, his employer will benefit, or even the nation will benefit, or even his community will benefit. And this individual will always have the higher ideal in his mind all the time. He's aware all the time. He'll take care of everyone around him before himself. And this is the highest level of action, and these are what we call the wiser individuals, and they are liberated from all sins. So very important point, it's the selfless people who are liberated from all sins. So the message in this verse says that if everybody came together with a common goal, with a higher ideal in mind, that their efforts will definitely be successful. He explains that Karma Yoga is a means, it's a technique to realize the eternal essence, because it's that eternal essence that's created the rules of the whole universe. So we really have to get together with us, with our Atma, and how we are connecting with everything, which really impacts ourselves, our community, and above all, our own peace. Only through the spirit of yajna, or the selfless action for a higher ideal, will we move forward on a path of realization of the eternal essence. He says yajna is a system of evolution, which means it's a way of moving from the lower plane of existence to the higher one. Sri Krishna Ji explains that humans are the only species capable of rational analysis and thinking and have choices. So the first choice is to remain at the current state, which is a lower state of selfishness, transient desires, and then which leads to guilt, fear, anger, or even hatred. Or you evolve to the higher plane, and this is identified with the higher ideals and how we work selflessly. If we examine ourselves, we realize that we derive pleasure and satisfaction from external sources, for example, material objects or other people. But in reality, the source of happiness is the absence of desires. For example, if somebody wants to buy the latest sari, it's the thought of buying the sari which is really, in their head. And once they've bought it, they have this certain calmness. And it's not because of the sari, they just feel that their desire has been fulfilled, and it's the absence of desire. They don't have that desire anymore. And that has led to the calmness. So it's a very fundamental point that once there's an absence of desire, that's when we find the calmness within us. So Krishna Ji says, the wise person will understand that it's the absence of desires that has made him happy, and not the object itself. Krishna Ji urges us to practice Karma Yoga and set an example. He tells Arjuna to go and fight to set an example, and only then he could lead his army. Krishna Ji even gives his own example as a Karma Yogi. He has attained this supreme independence, but yet he works joyously for the service of humanity, because without these teachings, the whole world would have collapsed. Krishna Ji urges Arjuna to perform action and not give in to the tendency of being lazy, which most humans are. Even if it's not for himself, but he has to set up this role model for people who are looking up to him. So all tasks, no matter how insignificant or unpleasant, should be performed selflessly, diligently, mindfully, and with complete dedication. He further goes on to say that we should do our task according to our ability, but do not rebuke others, because people are at different stages of development. So by criticizing, you will actually demoralize them. So this is again a part of teamwork, of how you can get the best out of all the people around you. And in this instance, it was his army. That just encourage people and you will get the best out of them. Our ancient rishis knew that all the matter, or prakriti, are made up of combination of three essential forces called the gunas. The first one is the inert force called tamas. The second one is the active force, or the rajas. And the third one is sattva, which is the harmonizing force. And every action that we perform in reality is formed by this prakriti, or the nature, and it does comprise a combination of three gunas. We are the eternal essence, which is everlasting and all-pervading. Prakriti then is further divided into 24 components. The first 5 are space, air, fire, water, earth. Next are the 5 mediums, which are sound, touch, form, taste, smell. Next one are 5 sense organs, which is ear, skin, eye, tongue, nose. Next ones are 5 organs of actions, which is speech, grasp, movement, generation, excretion. And the last are 4 internal organs, which is mind, intellect, memory, and ego. Just imagine, these distinctions were made so long ago and written in the Geeta, which the West have only found centuries later. So he says Prakriti, which is nature, comprising of these 3 gunas or the forces of energy, are working continually. And we too have to do our selfless actions and watch without attachment. We have to get rid of these negative thoughts of thinking of the past, which absolutely drain our mental energy, and actually focus on the present. We can only focus on the present by getting rid of all these negative energies. So a true Karma Yogi lives in the present and gives his absolute attention to any task he's doing. But if we are bound to actions or objects, we'll never be able to experience this eternal essence, which is actually the ultimate goal prescribed in the Gita. So Arjuna asks, why is it that even well-read, well-educated people cannot practice Karma Yoga? And Krishnaji says that we are all born with these inbuilt tendencies, our own traits, which compel us to work in a certain way. So we are just compelled to, taught from a very young age to act in a certain way. All beings, whether plants, animals, or humans, are born with this innate set of traits or tendencies. And in humans, it manifests itself in the body, mind, and the intellect. And these traits are a product of our desires. So they are the one that cause the desires. These tendencies reside in our senses, whether it's the eyes, ears, skin, nose, or tongue. And we can overcome negative tendencies using our intellect to guide us and to continually remind us of this higher ideal that we've set ourselves as a Karma Yogi. Krishnaji advises us to focus on our duty or Swadharma. And we should realize that likes, dislikes are transient and will pass. And we cannot let it control our mind, because once it sets into our mind, it becomes dangerous desires. So these superficial likes, dislikes, the more you give importance to it, actually becomes to dangerous desires. Desires conceal wisdom. Our wisdom, or the ability to discriminate, resides in the intellect. And Sri Krishnaji gives us 3 types of desires by analogy. The first desire is the tamasic, and these are deep within us, totally cover the wisdom, just like a womb covers a fetus. And just like there is no other way to see the fetus other than to wait for its birth, the only way to get rid of tamasic desires is to wait. For example, alcoholism or drug use. Second one is rajasic desires, or transient, usually motivated by greed. For example, buying the latest gadget or car, or even boasting to friends. The third one is sattvic desires, and these are that cover our wisdom very lightly. For example, this urge to go and attend a satsang or go to a temple, but you do have this urge that you have to go, and so it's a very light desire. Our wisdom shines the brightest through sattvic desires. Through our journey of life, we should try to turn from tamasic desires to sattvic desires. So Krishnaji convinced Arjuna that the desire and anger lied in him and not outside. And after that, he proceeds to reveal exactly where this enemy is. Krishnaji uses a language of a battle so that Arjuna can have more attention, because he will relate to it better. The enemy in the form of desire resides in 3 bowls. The first one is the senses, second one the mind, and third the intellect. The most dangerous place for a desire to reside is the intellect, because this is a place where we analyze and rationalize everything. And once we rationalize love and hate, it's actually entered our intellect and is very difficult to get rid of. Krishna ji then actually shows the method of taming desires. He advises Arjuna to first control the desires at the first level of entry, which is the senses, before it gets to the intellect. For example, not using harsh words. So first don't even get the senses involved, and then it won't actually settle in the brain, in the intellect, or our inner being. He said the simplest technique was to take deep breaths and actually focus on inhaling and exhaling. And this will actually stop the mental chatter that goes on all the time. Just concentrate within us. Simple but effective. Krishna ji goes further to give us levels of awareness. The first one is the body is most tangible. Second one, after the body are the senses, then the mind, which generates reactions in the form of emotions and thoughts but lacks decision-making power. Fourthly comes the intellect, which can analyze and understand the thoughts generated by the mind. But superior to the intellect is the highest possible ideal, the eternal essence itself. Krishna ji advises Arjuna to tackle problems through the standpoint of the eternal essence and not from the standpoint of the prakriti or the body, because that is not his real identity. And this is Karam Yogi. So let's go over the summary of chapter 3. What did it actually teach us? First, he stressed the need to convince ourselves that we have to act. We simply cannot think that we can eliminate desires by not acting. Once we have convinced that we have to act, we have to adopt the attitude of Karam Yoga so that the further actions do not cause bondage. The attitude of Karam Yoga comprises 5 aspects of knowledge or buddhi that in order to maintain and perform the action. The first one is samta buddhi. We need to remain calm and alert in all situations. All situations are transient and we should not get moved by any of them. Second one is swadharma buddhi, which is find our passion of duty and then deploy all the desires in the service of the higher ideal. Third one, samarpana buddhi. We should always dedicate all actions to something that's higher than us. We are part of the universe and should contribute to the whole. Fourth one, asanga buddhi. We should constantly assess whether we are attached to any object, person, emotion, position, or action. We should work with no expectation of the future and no burden of the past. Fifth one, prasada buddhi. We should perform actions without expectation of results. We should accept every result as a prasada. Well, that was chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. Amazingly written with pearls of wisdom, that if we all lived by the principles that it set down, the world would be such a happier place. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at that particular aspect of Bhagavad Gita. I shall be bringing chapter 4 in my next episode. See you soon. Thank you. This is Shashi Gosai.
Namaste, Shashi Gosai, everybody, live from London, helping us out with our Bhagavad Gita and Gita week as well. She did very well with chapter 3. I think she did better than all of us. Very well done, Shashi Gosai. I personally learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. All right, lots of love and lots of people coming through YouTube. We've got Ravi Nagar Naidu, Namaskaram, Jai Shri Krishna, stay blessed. Nishi Heeralal coming in from YouTube as well. She and Anjiria adore Shashi Gosai from London. Nishi Heeralal, I love this lady's teachings. Ria Tebi comes in to say, me too. Ria, she is so amazing. Lots of interaction happening on our channel today. Nishi Heeralal, I've learned to love all, serve all, without expecting anything in return. This gives me so much joy and fulfillment. That is so true, Nishi Heeralal. Thank you so much. And we've got a lot of Devan Naidu's teachings coming through. Well, I think thank you so much for that. We do appreciate your work. I think Shashi Gosai beat all of us today. She did very, very, very well. Ria Terry coming in to say thank you from everybody. We appreciate all of your messages, all of your interaction, as it helps our channel to grow. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got some music and some praise and worship coming up. Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sairam, Jai Shri Ram, Swamiye Saranamayappa, Goinda, Goinda, Govinda. Welcome back, everybody. Alright, for those of you who just joined us, you're all a little late as we stream live every single weekday at 7 o'clock. And the whole team and I got together and we're like, hey, we gotta get an inverter in the studio, you know, to power up our Wi-Fi, to power up our lights, to power up our studio so we can go live every single day at 7 o'clock. No fighting, no shouting, everything is in control. For those of you who just joined us and are watching this show for the very first time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. I'm your host Kimera Heeralal. This is a show called The Journey and it's all about exploring Hinduism as a whole. Now, we already discussed that the fact that this is Geeta week and we're talking about the Bhagavad Gita, and it's not easy to interpret this entire book in English, but I'd like to give a very big thank you to Dr. P.K. Maestri from the MSK Temple, and as well as Shashi Hussain all the way from London, educating us in English and teaching us this very book that none of us, let's be honest, none of us South Africans truly understand this. None of us truly speak or read Sanskrit or Hindi or Tamil. Oh, well, most of us, yeah? Let's be honest. Riya Tiani coming in from YouTube. My favorite prayer song is Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Alright, Auntie Riya, can we play it for you tomorrow as our content is racked up onto the system? Will you please join us tomorrow? We will play Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Hopefully one of the groups can sing it. We do have that standing by for you in the rack, but we cannot load it now as we are streaming live. Load shedding here for 4 hours till 10. Shame. Sorry, Achiria. No. Fellow South Africans, I'm so sorry. You know, I wish there was something we could do with this channel to actually help the power problem in this country, but little pricey, yeah? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as we promised you, lots of entertainment and praise and worship throughout the educational show called The Journey. Coming up next, we got Baby Nashara from Chatswood, Durban, performing for us Manasa Bajara. Check it out.
Power
Beautiful delivery from Baby Nishana from Durban, Chatsworth, also one of Deshan Style and Naidu students. I have to add that I'm performing for you, Manasa Bajara. Thank you guys so much for sending us this video, and what a beautiful delivery and praising and worshiping Sai Baba himself. We got Terry and Nishi Heeralal saying what a beautiful, lovely Sai Baba bhajan. Thank you so much for that, Nishi Heeralal, coming in from YouTube, everyone. Ria Terry still very excited with her yay from YouTube, as I will be delivering the song that she has requested for tomorrow. Alright, as we come towards the end of the show, guys, I know I'm running a little over time, but it's fine. Let's do our 108 principles of the value system from the Tirukural. Today's lesson is sitting at number 60. Let's take a look.
Today's lesson from the 108 principles of the value system from the Tirukural is number 60. Do not forget, cultivate memories.
Well, if all of you or any of you in South Africa, or well, I was informed by Guru Indresan to say even globally, if you need a guru to perform certain services which obviously you cannot do, we've got Guru Indresan to perform the Jandagam or astrological readings, also known as a Panjagam if you need so. He also does your Navagrah Shanti, your house prayers, your business prayers, your car prayers, your temple and hall weddings, not forgetting your ceremonies like your 16 days in your 1 year, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget your Janda prayer, your auspicious Hawans, your Kumbha Abhishekams. If you need any of these services that you see on your screen, please contact Guru Indresan after 6 p.m. on a weekday. You can call him or WhatsApp him on 081 325 0115. I'll give it to you again. It's 081 325 0115. Well, it's come to the time where I have to love and leave you. Please join us again tomorrow, same time, same place, as it is Geeta week and we are doing the teachings on the Bhagavad Gita. And tomorrow we'll be doing part 4, which is chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. It will be awesome to see all of you there again. From myself, Kimera Heeralal, Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Swami Saranam Ayyappa, Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Good night, everyone.